Thank you all for joining this live webinar. Hi, Merv.
Hello.
And I think I'll have Renee here as well in a second. So whilst everybody, hi Renee. Whilst everybody is joining the webinar, I think we'll leave important announcements for a few minutes, just so that everybody is here, so that everybody hears the same information. We will put everything in the chat boxes. To remind you, our email address is hello@GoCreateAcademy.com if you have any questions following this webinar. So this evening's webinar is talking about the very exciting online music theory exams for the London College of Music examinations that are taking place this Saturday. Merv Young, the head of the London College of Music examinations, is here with us to answer any of your questions. And from our side at Go Create Academy, we will answer any questions that you have about the software or the platform taking the exam. So please, if you have questions, could you write them in the Q&A box so we can start answering them, because this session is for all of you to make sure that you are 100% ready to take your exams on Saturday. I'm still just going to wait another minute or two before I say a few more things specifically about Saturday, because I want to make sure that everybody is here to hear that. So I don't know, Merv, if you would like to say a quick few words general words about it, and then I'll come back in.
Yeah, thanks, Susan. Thanks, Renee, as well. Yeah, from me, first of all, welcome to all of you. I know we've got some different time zones operating here, so I'll say a sort of a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good evening, just to cover absolutely everybody. First and foremost, and most importantly, I hope you are all keeping extremely safe and well as we continue to navigate this rather bizarre year. I'm tremendously excited about what we're doing here with this new online theory platform. This is a key part of the work that LCME has been doing throughout the year, as we have been operating increasingly within the digital world. As many of you will know, we have recorded and online exams available now for our practical subjects, and the provision of a platform to embrace our theory candidates in the digital domain was extremely important for us as well. And I have to say, the conversations about this platform predated any awareness of the word COVID or coronavirus or anything else. We were talking about this last year. So this has been something that we were keen to do anyway, as we realize that this is going to be something that people would want to be doing. So a very strong commitment from LCME to do this, and I'm delighted that we're involved with our close partners at GoCreate in the development of this. This evening, this session really is about you and your question, your queries, and making sure that you are comfortable with the platform for the exams that are coming up this Saturday. So I'm going to shut up, because otherwise I will drone on for ages, much to everybody's annoyance. So I will stop there. A very, very warm welcome, and hopefully we can enjoy this session and pick up any questions that you've got a bit later on.
Thank you, Merv. Okay, so I think the most important thing to take out of this session is that everybody knows what they have to do in order to be registered for their exam on Saturday. So part of this process, what we have done is created this test exam. I'd like to just say that the test exam is not an exam. It's just a place where you can see the software in action with the different types of questions at all levels. So you don't have to worry about if there's a question that's from a higher level than what you're taking. It's just there so that you can see the software in action. So you know, okay, drag and drop, multiple choice, the kind of questions that you have. For actual preparation on actual music theory work, you can do that through your music theory practice papers, your past papers, all of that stuff. There isn't anything available online right now for that. So I just wanted to make that clear. What we would love for everybody to do is to go in and set up a test account. Every candidate who's taking the exam to set up a test account and to try taking the test questions. Again, don't worry if some of the questions are higher levels. It's not about that. It's more what we're actually trying to achieve here is that you have logged in. And if there's any problems starting that test exam, we will then know that you would then have an issue on Saturday morning logging in when you actually go to take your exam. So the test exam is going to be seeing that your camera is connected correctly. So we ask that when you do the test exam to do it in the environment that you would be doing your exam. So if you're using a certain laptop or a desktop, to use that for your test exam and to try and do it in the environment where you'll be doing it. If that's not possible, the most important thing is that you're using the same device and you're hopefully on the same Wi-Fi network that you would be using doing the exam. So if there's any problems with either of those, we can help you well in advance to make sure that you don't have those problems on Saturday and that it's a really good, smooth process for you. So without further ado, I'm going to start going through some of your questions and we'll answer them as best we can. And if anything isn't resolved during this, we can make sure that it is in the next 24 hours. So just in order that I'm looking at the questions here, Neha has asked, are the timings of the exams according to BST? So I don't want to specifically say the timings here to confuse everybody, but what we will send you out an email that has your local time in it. So for example, for the UK, that's local time 10 a.m. For, let me look at another region, UAE, it's local time 10:30 a.m. So the times slightly vary based on where you are, but we will send you an email with your local time. So you don't need to be worried about whether it's another time zone. David has asked, what time is the exam? Okay, that's David. I'm making an assumption here, perhaps that you are taking that exam in the UK. So that's a 10 a.m. start time in the UK. So you can tell me if that wasn't correct, David, but I was just making an assumption that it's a UK entry there. Agastya has asked, will the password be given? Perhaps Renee, I could just ask you to answer that question there with the password so they're clear on how that part works. Thank you.
Yes, you will get the password directly on the exam day. So when you open your exam, then you will see the password. And when you start your exam, then of course you have just to copy paste the given password.
Great, thank you. If anybody has any question again around that, just come back to us because we don't want anybody panicking. I'm seeing somebody said panicking, so I'll come to that question in a minute. Don't worry, no reason to panic. We're here to support you, and that's why we're doing this session. So Daisy has asked, she said she's not received any confirmation of creating an account after filling in the form to create an account. Should I have heard something by now? If not, when will I hear about this? Okay, maybe Renee, I'm not sure if you can see there if Daisy's speaking about a test exam or if maybe Daisy, you could just clarify, is that to do with creating a test exam, and whether, Renee, does somebody receive a confirmation email once they've set up a test account or an account? So
yeah, the answer is really simple. You don't receive a confirmation. It doesn't matter if you signed up for the test exam or if you or the booker has filled in the candidate details. When you have signed up for the test exam, then of course you have an account. So when you are able to log in to the theory platform, then you can be sure that your account was created. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to log in. If we are talking about the candidate details form, then it's just a simple online form to capture the candidate details that we can create your account manually. When you or your booker has submitted your details, then you will receive an email, I think on Wednesday or Thursday, with all information about the exact time when your exam starts and further information, further guidelines, and so on. If you don't receive an email until Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning, then just contact us and we will check if you were on the list or not.
Thank you, Rene. So I'm just going to draw everybody's attention to, I have put the link into the chat box so that you can see that one link where we have put all the essential information on that page. There are the further guidelines on the guidelines page, but that page that I've just put the link in there has your essential information, you know, what is the test exam, how to enter the test exam, how to take the test exam, and then for the higher levels around the advanced notation editor. Okay, so I'm just going to continue here with the questions. Abhinav has asked, my music school registered us for the exam. Though I submitted my son's name using the link to create account, I've not been able to create an account really. So Abhinav, I'd have to check whether, so there's two, so where there's an extra step in the process is that for the online platform, you have to have an email address. So there's three pieces of information. There's the candidate's name, the candidate's email address, and the exam that the candidate is entered for. Now, we have noted that a number of people have put in an email address, which might be maybe a teacher's email address or a rep's. So we need to make sure that there's a specific email address assigned to each candidate. This, you know, one person can't have, like, one email address can't be for 10 candidates or even for 2 candidates. Every email address needs to be unique to the user, to the candidate taking the exam. So please make sure that that you have done that. If you have done that and you're still having problems, just email us at hello@GoCreateAcademy.com with those 3 pieces of information: your son's name, son's email address, and the exam that he's registered for, and we can make sure that that is all working correctly. I'll also point out that when you take that test exam, when you sign up for that, that will do that process as well. So that's another way. And we, again, I'm probably going to keep saying this throughout this webinar, please, everybody, take the test exam. Even if you only do the first few questions, it's about the process of logging in and making sure that your internet is stable and that your camera is working. That's very important from an invigilation perspective and the regulation side. So please make sure that you do that. So moving on, Janani has had, my kids have created individual accounts, thank you. When will they receive instructions for the theory exam on the 12th? So that email will be on either Wednesday afternoon. I think we'll get it out to you at the end of day Wednesday afternoon. We just have to make sure. There's been a couple of later entries, people who've gone from offline to online. So we just need to make sure that everybody is completed when we send that out. So you'll have it by Thursday morning at the latest. You will have received an email from GoCreateAcademy. So just make sure you keep an eye on that. And if you haven't, check your junk folder just in case it went in there. If not, get in contact with us and we will sort it out. Again, I'm going to reiterate in time-wise, please send any questions that you have to us by the latest, the response to that email on Thursday morning. We can't deal with a lot of questions coming in later on Thursday or Friday about internet connections, about devices, about all of these things. So this is why we need you to look at them in the next few days. Michael is the next question, I think. So Michael has said, the test exam requested a payment of £0. My students have already paid. They won't be requested to pay upon registration, will they? No, definitely not, Michael. It's just the payment is there, part of the process. If it was a direct entry, since they've already paid, that is already accounted for. So do not worry, there is no other charges there. Ina has said, I've created an account for the test, but there's no confirmation email. I think Rene just answered that one there as well. Thank you, Ina, for your question. Ramya has asked, I have 2 children taking the exam. Do I need to register them before the exam? Yes, please. Do I need to register them with 2 separate email IDs? Yes, please. You do not need to make any additional payments. On the exam day, should I seat them separately, and do they each need a piano? The piano part, I'd have to refer to Merv if whether that's a prerequisite on a theory exam. But whether they should be seated separately, Rene, maybe you could just answer that in terms of their seating environment, please.
Yes, as the exam is invigilated both by our invigilator and also by our artificial intelligence, it's definitely better that all candidates seat separately in a room, because our invigilator and the AI are not with you in the room, and they cannot see directly what you are doing or who you are talking to. So please stay alone in one room so that there is no misunderstanding for later reviewing. Yeah.
Thank you, Rene. Yeah, so I just want to reiterate that point, because the exams are being invigilated. Any attempts at cheating or what could be seen as that will be reviewed. So again, just reinforcing what Rene is saying there is that if somebody comes into view of your camera, it will be getting flagged, and as a potential, cheating interruption there. So just please try not to have anybody coming in your space that we could potentially be thinking that there is something going on where it isn't. I hope that answers your question. Thank you, by the way, for everybody asking their questions. It's great. Krithika has asked, there weren't a lot of questions for grade 1 on the step levels in the test practices. Can you please put in some more so we have a better idea? Also, in general, more test exams. So listen, that's absolutely great. We are absolutely intending to do that in the future. So for future sessions, there will be lots of test exams in there and everything like that. There just isn't right now for this lot. Also, just to let you know, for grade 1 and the step levels, there isn't really much difference in terms of the offline to the online. It's very basic in how to use it. So that's why the only questions that are in there are the only things that are different. So in the way that you might have to take the exam. I don't know, Rene, if there's anything else you'd like to add to that.
The best way for practicing is really to have previous exam papers or the theory books, and just to make a simple comparison, if the exam paper says write a scale of whatever, then you can just use the test exam to see how the question is adapted from paper to online. Or if the paper says name the notes of this or that chord, then online it's most times a multiple choice question. So it's not for practicing exam papers, it's just to get an idea how the questions are transformed from paper to online.
Brilliant, thank you. At this point, I'm also going to add that if you are one of the candidates taking anything from grade 6 up in particular, you will need to spend time getting to know the advanced notation editor. So that's where the changes do really start. So you will need more time to accustom yourself to that. So really, please do bear that in mind to make sure that you have read through. We have everything listed out in the guidelines in relation to the advanced notation editor. So please make sure that you do look at that you take the test exam. And if you have any questions, again, that you're sending them through in the next day or so to us, please. Moira has asked, if we're not using the online notation up to grade 5, what will be the format for transpositions be? So Maura, just to let you know, you are using the online notation. It's just grade 6 to grade 8 is an advanced notation editor. It's very specific for what's needed for those exams. I don't know, Rene, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yes, up to grade 5, of course, there are also questions about transpositions. In this case, you have the original given chord progression, for example, and then you have some drag and drop or maybe multiple choice options where you have to assign the correct transposition to the given one. So it's not like writing the whole transposition, it's just selecting the correct ones from some given options.
Thank you, Renee. And Moira, take a look at it on the test paper, and if you've any other question on that, just come back to us. We'll be really happy to help you there. Mylan has asked, how can I access the test exam now? That link that I put into the chat box, Mylan, has all the details that you need there, and what is the test exam, how to enter it, and how to take the test exam. So it's probably easier to see that than for me to say it here. So you just click on that link and you'll get all of that information. Then Mayan has asked, do you want me to start the exam now? Yeah, well, you don't have to start at this minute, but yes, please do. If you can do that, that would be great in the next, as soon as you can, really do that, so that you're, you know that your connection is correct and that you're, that you have everything working. I see you've got your hands up there, Mylan. So if you have another question on that, how can I do it? So I'm just going down to his question there. I don't know how to start the exam whilst listening to the weather. I'm panicking. Oh no, you do not need to start it now, Mylan. You can do this after the webinar. You can do it anytime in the next few days. The sooner the better, but not right now during the webinar. Sorry for any confusion if you were panicking there, Mylan. Don't worry at all. You don't have to do it right now. Christine has asked, this tool will be a challenge for your younger kids. What other measure do you put in place for them so they are evaluated fairly, as they are not only tested for theory, but also how to use the tool to perform the test? It's an interesting question, Christine, because we have obviously tested this quite extensively with all age groups, and the younger ones tended to, I'm not trying to sound biased here, but they tended to be the quickest on using it, and at the lower levels found it, just very intuitive to use. So I guess the measure put in place from the software side is that they can log in, so that they make sure they have no issues with logging in on the day. So there's no stress around that. Also, they have plenty of time, I think, to take the exam. I think the exams are quite generous in the time within their time frame. I'm not sure, Merv, whether you have anything else you want to add to that in terms of the younger kids taking the exam online.
Just some reassurance from it. I would reiterate what Susan has said, and certainly, absolutely, it's been our experience with the practical exams as well, where teachers and parents have sort of voiced concerns about the ability of their young pupils, young children, whoever it might be, to navigate a practical exam using an iPad or whatever. And of course, they've just, hosed through it all and just run riot around it all with no problems at all. Whereas, somebody of my age is trying to find the on button. So I'm not being flippant here at all. I appreciate this is a very serious point, but I think we've got it covered, is the short answer. We are confident through our testing process that we have procedures in place so it's accessible for all age levels. But obviously, if experience of this session on Saturday requires us to change what we're doing in some way and adapt and provide clear information or whatever, then feed it back to us, let us know, and we will respect that, and we will pick up on that and change it as going forward. I think we've got a great platform. With anything new, of course, there is always a chance that some elements aren't completely right and something needs to be changed. We're mature and adult enough as an organization and as people to acknowledge that, so we will respond. But I genuinely don't think there is any cause for concern at all for this session that we've got coming up this Saturday. So I hope that helps to reassure.
Thank you, Merv. And again, Christine, please make sure that they log in, that they try the test, just the first few questions that might be related to their level, and then if there's any issue around that, just get in touch with us at hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. Neil has asked, what happens if you don't have Wi-Fi at home and you use mobile data instead? Neil, these exams, part of the guidelines is that they do have to be taken using a Wi-Fi network and not mobile data. This is kind of out of our hands. This is very much a regulatory side of things in terms of invigilation and regulation. These are Ofqual regulated exams, so that is sort of out of our hands, and we have it explained in the guidelines there. So I'm not sure if you can be at a space where there is some Wi-Fi. Other than that, I'm not really sure what to suggest there, because the exam does need to be taken with a Wi-Fi connection. Rob has asked, is there a link to this test exam? Yeah, Rob, I put in the chat box just the link to the main area. I can put I'll put a direct link into the test exam in a second as well. So you can see that there. Athena has asked, how will the exam pattern be since it's online? Will it be on MS Forms, or should we write it on paper? And no, okay. So Athena, just to tell you, this is a completely online exam. There is no scanning paper or anything like that. The camera is there because it's an invigilated exam. You will take your exam using the platform online, so everything is in the software. You can, if you would like to, we have on the link that I shared before, there is a place that you can download some manuscript stave paper if you want to take notes of the exam, but you will have to show that paper at the beginning of the exam to make sure that there is nothing written on that. Again, we've thought quite deeply about the guidelines and what questions you might have. So hopefully we have gone through pretty much everything in the guidelines. So please take a look at those. And if there is any other questions that you have after that, take it. Athena, I would encourage you just to actually take the test exam. So then you have a feeling for what it's like taking the exam. And I think that will probably show you it completely. Sashin has asked, if I finish before the time limit, do I have to stay until it ends at the finish time? No, absolutely not. Once you're finished the exam, you press the submit button. There is a double press so that just in case you don't hit or accidentally off something. So there is a fail safe of a double click in there, but you can finish your exam when you are ready to finish your exam, and then it will ask you, are you sure you want to finish? And then once you press that, then it's over. So that's the end of the exam. You can't go back into it once you've done that. So just bear that in mind as well. But you can finish, you can leave whenever you're finished. Just make sure that you submit your exam paper and don't just walk away without submitting it. Charu has asked, I've signed up for an individual account, but how do I confirm that the grade level is correct? I do not see any place to specify the grade level for the theory exam and would like to verify it's correct. So Charu, we have all of the details that you will have submitted to Eric at LCME in terms of your exam level. So when you go in to your exam on Saturday, you will be assigned to the exam that you paid for and signed up to. So there won't be any confusion there. Whatever exam that you have paid for and signed up to will be available to you on Saturday when you're ready to start your exam. Sepper has asked, how do you access the test? How can we do the test exam and see the software? Again, it's on the link that I put in the chat box. It's literally all there, all the links for you. We collated it into one page so you could just see everything that's really important there. And then you'll see you can link off to other places which has more detailed information on everything. Okay, I'm not sure, Narika, what your question is there. You said you made your own password and it let you log in. Is it going to be, Senham has asked, is it going to be a live Invigilator or AI? It is, so we have AI working, Senham, but basically everything is being recorded so that any attempts at cheating or anything suspicious will be reviewed by human beings post your exam. Nidhi has asked, what is the duration of the exam? It will be the exact same duration it normally is. I can have maybe Merv confirm to me the exam times, I think.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half for the lower grades, 2 hours for grades 3 and 4, I think it is, and then 3 hours for 5, 6, 7, and 8. But exactly the same. If I've got one of those wrong, then somebody tell me. But I think that's an hour and a half, 2 and 3 hours as per.
Brilliant. Yeah, exact same as normal. Is a translator expected? Antonio has asked. What do you mean by a translator, to Antonio, in terms of the exam? I presume that Merv can maybe, is the exam normally?
Yeah, well, the questions are obviously in English, as they would be under normal, under normal conditions if it was a written paper. So if there's depending on what grade, what theory subject you're taking, if there's an essay component, for instance, and you're going to be writing that in your own language rather than in English, and that requires translation, then you probably need to coordinate that with us and make us aware of that, so we can sort of factor that in.
Thank you, Merv. So Charit has asked, my son took the exam this weekend. He wants to know what happens if he's unable to find a tool he needs during the exam or has some issues. How does he get help? Should he reach out to his parents, to the parents? Again, we have detailed this quite extensively on the guidelines page about before the exam, during the exam, and after the exam. So please take a look at that. When you say about a tool that he needs, the only thing that he is allowed to have in the room with him is some blank manuscript paper and pen outside of his device that he's taking the exam on. So I'm not sure when you say a tool, unless you can elaborate what you might mean there isn't anything else allowed in the room with him. Of course, I guess if he doesn't have a connection, though, I'm not sure, Merv, you'll have to answer from a regulatory perspective, but we have outlined specifically in all the guidelines, what he can and can't do. Margaret has asked, I've entered 3 students through Eric. How will LCM coordinate who has paid for the exam? Will it appear on their account? Yes, everybody who's paid for the exam, Margaret, that will be logged. The only additional piece of information really that we would need is that you wouldn't have submitted to Eric is an email address associated with the candidate. So the way with the online platform works, it needs an email address to associate with a specific candidate. So that would be the only thing. Fees, everything like that is already sorted out via Eric. So that will come up as you have done there as paid. So as long as you've paid it through Eric, it's paid. Usha has asked, how long is the exam? I think Merv just answered that based on the different levels. So hopefully that you heard that, Usha. What email address? Daisy's asked, what email address do we contact if we don't hear by Thursday morning? Please contact us at hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. I'll write it in the chat box in a second as well. So again, that's hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. Thank you, Daisy, for that question. Harry has asked, so I have an account on the Theory platform, but I need to wait until Wednesday for the email to access my child's account. So that the exam will be sent to my Theory platform account. No, Harry, you can go straight on to the Theory platform now, and your child can go straight on now and take the test exam. So it's just that they have to have in order to do the process, they have to have their own name, their own email address, and that's it. So they just set up their test account so they can see how to do the process, so that we know if there's an issue with their laptop not being able to connect to the camera, which is obviously essential for the invigilation, and if there's any issues with the Wi-Fi. And obviously as well, they get to test out the different questions for their relevant level. Please let me know, Harry, if you've any other question from that. So Milan has asked, when do you want me to take maybe the test exam? No, you don't need to take it now. You can take it in your own time, this evening, tomorrow, anytime really in the next few days, Milan, would be great. But we would appreciate it if you do that before the end of Wednesday, so that we can come back to you if you have any problems or questions, so there's enough time. Wesley has asked, my daughter is doing this exam but got worried when she didn't understand how to do something online. How will you address either exam or technical queries on the day? Wesley, could I ask if that question, if your daughter didn't understand how to do something, was that to do with an exam paper? Because if it's an exam question, we can't answer that. In terms of technical queries, there shouldn't be any. If the internet connection has been checked and the camera is working, there shouldn't be any other technical queries on the day. Yes, of course, if there is something, we can help, but there shouldn't really be anything. But yes, we do have somebody available should there be an issue on the day. Yes. Angela has asked if there are internet problems during the exam. Is there a way to contact you, example, by phone? We can't, Angela. There is nothing we can do if you have internet problems during the exam. So that would be up to Merv and the LCME as to how they would handle that. But there isn't anything that we can do on the day. Again, that's why everybody has the opportunity to connect to the test exam, to test their internet connection and the device they're using before the exam, because there's nothing that we can do on the day of the exam if you have an internet problem, if you can't take the exam. Harry has asked, when trying to take the test exam, I couldn't get in as it was just waiting for the examiner. Do I need to be patient and wait longer? Maybe Renee, you can answer that one as to what may have happened there.
Yes, I think Harry was trying to join the live monitoring session. In the test exam, of course, we have no live monitoring with an invigilator, because an invigilator cannot be around 24 hours a day. Just ignore the live monitoring session. There's also a notice that there is no live session for the test exam. So just move forward to the exam, and then you can do the test exam with the AI invigilation.
Okay, perfect. So Harry, ignore that and just you can go on and do it, and it uses the AI invigilation for your test exam. Daisy's asked, how much can the invigilator assist if there is a technical issue? Again, Daisy, we have outlined everything in the guidelines in terms of technical issues. We can deal with, mainly the only way we can really solve your technical issues is if you flag them to us in the next few days, because the technical issues can be around your camera and your Wi-Fi connection. There won't be any, there shouldn't be any other technical issues unless it's your own device that there's an issue with, which we can't obviously control from our end. Linda has asked, when should we do the test exam? Again, you can do that anytime, but please do it in the next few days. Zephyr has asked, will we have a chance to write in a paper to do the, I'm not sure what your last word is there, Zephyr. Just trying to pay. I'm not sure what you were what was supposed to be written there, but will we have a chance to write in a paper? So if you're asking, do you have note paper you can use? On the guidelines page, you can download some manuscript paper, which you can use as long as when it's blank when you start off. You can use that during the exam. Siobhan has asked, I filled in the required information to try the test exam. When I get to start test, it will not let me in. What am I missing, please? I'm guessing, Renee, is that the same probably the same question as before in terms of it's just they can ignore the invigilator?
Yes, maybe. So first, it could be the live monitoring session. So this you can simply ignore. If it is the exam itself, then either you have forgot to copy paste the password for the test exam, which is just test. It's also written on the exam information. Other option could be that you haven't ticked the checkbox to give your consent. So just tick the box and try again. And the third and last option would be that your webcam is not enabled. So if you want to take the test exam, you have to do it in almost the same circumstances at the real exam. So turn your webcam on, give your consent, type in the exam password, and then you are ready to start. I would recommend just try it again, and if it's not working, just come back to us by email with some more details or screenshots, and then I'm sure we will find a solution.
Thank you, Renee, and thank you for the question, Siobhan. Just let us know if you have any further question from that. I think it's probably also important just to say around these connection issues, tech issues, our system will register if there are internet issues going on with you during the exam, if it's dropping, things like that. So in terms of if you end up for not being able to complete the exam or something, then MERV and LCME will look at that based on all the information that they get on a case-by-case basis. So the system pretty much logs everything. So they will just that would be looked at on an individual basis. Agashta has asked, is the exam on Zoom? No, it's not. It's on the online music theory platform. So that's on the link that I put below in the chat box. So you can go to that link and see where the exam is and take your test exam there as well. Or test sample paper, I should say, really. Antonio has asked, some students do not fully understand English. Can the translator stay in the room? Merv, I'll have to put that question over to you.
Shouldn't really be necessary, because again, it should be under the same conditions as if it was a written paper. I think that's the bottom line here. So how the exams are conducted as if it was a written paper, the same principles apply, because obviously it'll be you as the candidate that will have to be completing the paper, not somebody on your behalf, as it were, unless you've contacted us about that in advance. So yeah, shouldn't really be necessary.
So the next few questions about when will my account be confirmed. Once you've set up your account, you can log in and do your test exam. If it's not working, then just get in contact with us at hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. Ramya has asked if there's any issues with the software on the day. Is there any assistance? Is there a time check? Can they take a restroom break? Again, this is all detailed in the outlines. They can't take any restroom breaks once they start the exam. So they need to go to the toilet before they start the exam. Please, everybody remember, this is an invigilated, regulated exam. So this is really important that, yes, there will be a time clock. Renee, maybe you can confirm that the time clock will be displayed on the exam. They'll be able to see how long they have left at any moment during the exam.
Yes, each candidate, of course, will start at a slightly different time. So the exam session doesn't start for all candidates at the exact same time. So as soon as a candidate starts the exam by typing in the exam password and really starts the exam, then the individual timer will start. And on the top right side, you will see how much time you have remaining to complete your exam. If you are done earlier, of course, you can just submit and finish your exam. There's no need that you stay longer or until the end of the session. If the time is not enough, you will have a 5-minute grace period to answer the last question, and then the system will submit your exam automatically.
Thank you, René. Bianca's asked, for any physical paper we are using, are we going to have to show it before we start writing or working out? René, maybe I can have you answer that question as well, please.
Yes, on the link Susan has shared, you can download blank manuscript papers. Please only use these papers, just print them out before the exam or a day before or whenever you want. Before you start your exam or when you start your exam, please show the blank papers to the webcam. And when you start writing during your exam, also show the paper again so that the invigilator and the AI know that you now start writing on a paper and not trying to cheat. Otherwise, both the system and the invigilator will just treat it as a cheat attempt.
Thank you, René. Alison has asked, will there be a finish button so the candidates make clear they finish? Yes, absolutely. They have to submit their exam at the end of the exam when they finished it. There is an extra step to take just in case somebody was to accidentally hit off that button to say, are they sure that they are ready to? And then they click that again, and that is that's it, finished. So please make sure that nobody just walks away at the end of the exam without submitting their paper. That's very important. Yes.
Just a few words to this. If it should happen that someone leaves the session without submitting because he or she was nervous and just closed the browser window, no worries. In this case, you really can't go back, but the system will recognize that you are logged out, and then just the remaining time will, yeah.
Okay, great.
So the system will stop the exam automatically after the exam time. So if you really have forgot to submit, then no worries.
Okay, so that's a nice fail-safe there for anybody who is anxious that they might forget to finish that at the end, that it won't be lost. It is
but
there.
Definitely, there's no way back when you have finished.
Okay. So no pressing submit until you're absolutely sure that you have finished. Thank you, René. Ina is asking again around the test exam. Again, that's what we've gone through that a few times. So it's on the link that I put in the chat box. Will the online exam look identical to past offline paper exams? Emma has asked. It's the same exam, it's just adapted for online. So where a question would have to be adapted, it has been adapted. I don't know if there's anything else, René, you want to add to that?
No, basically the questions are almost the same. Some questions, like ABC sub-questions, are split into different questions or other sub-questions so that they are not ABC, but 1, 2, 3. And most things, especially for the rhythm notation, for example, are adapted to either multiple choice, where you have to select correct or incorrect options of correct or incorrect rhythm notation, and not that you have to write another rhythm notation completely from the scratch. There are some special things for the higher grades, so grade 6, 7, and 8 with the advanced notation editor. Of course, there is more writing notes and also parts of scores. So in this case, when you take grade 6, 7, or 8 on Saturday, please take the test exam and do the practice with the notation editor. We also have a guideline how to use the notation editor. You can leave this page open during the exam. So if you forget a feature of the notation editor or how to use it, just leave this page open during your exam to see how you can create beams or break beams, or how you can change any keys or measures, bars, whatever. So it's not as complicated as it may look at the first moment. So just do the test exam, read the guidelines, and yeah, especially for the annotation editor,
Thank
try
you.
out as much as you can.
Yeah. Thank you, Rene. And just to reiterate, that's just grade 6 up. So anybody underneath grade 6, do not worry or panic about that. It's just slightly more complex from grade 6 up. So if anybody who is taking grade 6 up has a question about this, please do get in touch. We'll be happy to answer any of those questions. That is mainly where things start to get a little different. The Charu has asked, where can I find more information on using the advanced notation editor? My son is in grade 2, and I think he will be using it during the online exam. So no, Charu, do not worry. That is only for grade 6 upwards. Okay, everything that is in the first part of the test sample paper, that's sample area, that's all that he will need to know. So he'll only get confused if he looks at the advanced notation editor. So thank you for those questions. Penne has asked, I've booked candidates for pop and classical theory. If candidates have mistakenly registered for the wrong genre of the exam, will this be checked with the booker's information? Yes, we'll be cross-checking. If what you mean that you've put them in for one on the with Eric when you're registering there, and then have checked a different box on the online music theory platform website, we will cross-check everything there. Just make sure again that there is a specific email address assigned to each of those candidates. That would be the main thing. I don't know if there's anything, Rene, you want to add to that.
No.
Okay, perfect. So Penny, just get in touch if you are unsure about that, just if you have put them into something different on the test area. Kritika has asked, my 6-year-old son finds it a little different to log in. Is there anything that can help him? I get that me helping him would look improper, so any suggestions? Well, I think the thing is, Kritika, is that if he can log in to the test exam, once he's done that process, it will be the same process on the day. So Rene, I don't know if you've got anything you want to add to that, but there shouldn't really be, once he's logged in, there shouldn't really be anything after that, should there?
So the login itself is very simple. It's just typing in the individual email address and the account password. I think what you mean is the registration process for the test exam. So no worries. Once you have done it, everything is okay. On the exam day, of course, you can help your son to log into the platform, but as soon as he starts the exam, he should be alone in the room. But everything before, of course, you can assist him how to log in, how to navigate to the exam. But from the point he starts the exam, yeah, he needs to be alone.
Yeah, thank you, Rene, for highlighting that as well. It won't be the registration process, which is longer. It will literally just be logging in, which is a lot quicker and more straightforward. So just bear that in mind as well. So we have from the Escuela Superior de Música, we are a center and we register all of our students under the same email. Will they have a problem getting into the exam? Yes, every candidate needs to have an email address specific to them. It's the only way they can have an individual login, which is essential for the invigilation. So each candidate must have their own email address. In Costa Rica, by the time, I can just pull that up quickly, like we will send out an email with everybody with their times. Costa Rica is an 8 a.m. start local time for your reference there, but we will send out the email with all of the times. Margaret has asked, on the STEP exam, is there still an either or option on the question on the scales and the pitch names? Maybe Rene, you might be the best person to answer that.
Oh.
So it's on the STEP exam, is there still an either or option on the question, scales and pitch names?
I think you mean write a scale either in the bass or treble clef. No, you cannot decide to write a scale or pitch in a specific clef. So the question directly says that you have to write it in the treble clef or the bass clef, and you cannot decide it by your own.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for that question, Margaret. Nee has asked, how many times can you access the test exam? I think as many times as you want. Is that correct, Renee?
Yeah. So once you have registered and entered the test exam, you can take it as often as you want. Also, you don't have to enter the test exam multiple times. So it's really enough to enter one time and then you can redo it
Keep
as often
retaking
as
it.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there to make you feel comfortable with the software and using the software. So please, Nia, go ahead and do it as many times as you want, but just remember you don't need to re-register each time. You're already entered into it, so you can just keep going back on whatever questions that you want to in that. Leela said she didn't get an email about creating an account. So how do I create one? Again, on the link that I put into the chat box, all the information is there on how to do that, Leela. And anything, if you're still stuck, just get in touch with our hello@GoCreateAcademy.com email, and we will help you. Angela said, if a student finishes the exam before the time is up, can they end the exam? Yes, absolutely, Angela. They can finish whenever they're finished. Alp has said, can we look at the questions we already answered again? Yes, so you can keep redoing the test exam. I think that's what you're asking there. You can do it as many times as you want, Alp. Thank you. Zin has asked, is it okay that parents help set up or log in the exam, then leave the room? Yes, that is okay. Merv, you're okay with that as well, with the parent helping the user just to set up and log into the exam?
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you for that question. Ina has asked, did you send an email that has a link to set up the test exam? Yes, it would have been in a link probably, I think you would have received from Alex at LCME. But even if you didn't, that link that I've put in the chat box, that will show you to everything. So you can get into all, your test exam and all the guidelines and everything is there. And just get in touch. If you're still stuck, just get in touch. Michael has asked, grade 5, rewriting ornaments. Will these be multiple choice answers? Renee, I'll that one over to you.
This is a really good question.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes and no. So like on the paper exam, you have the original extract, and I don't really know how it's for the Saturday's session, but there are two options. Either you have some multiple choice options of the whole extract, where it asks which of these options was rewritten correctly or not. Or it could be that the options are split into the different bars, and then you have to select if bar 1, 2, or 3 are rewritten correct or incorrect. So nothing special about this. At least it's multiple choice, but only with the options if it's the whole extract or parts of it.
Okay, thank you, Renee. Thank you for the question, Michael. And just Michael has asked a further question I see down a little further. Does every question need to be saved before turning pages?
Yes and no. For the lower grades, or let's say the basic question types, save automatically. For the advanced notation editor, where you really have to write each note and break and whatever, please click on the File and Save button. It's also noticed on every window of the notation editor. Otherwise, if you leave the page, then your work will be lost. But there is a big orange banner that remembers you to save your answer. If you are unsure, better save your answer one time more and just go back and edit your answer. It's better than losing something if anything is happening. But for the basic questions up to grade 5, there is no need to save answers individually.
Thank you. Yes, so again, it is the grade 6 to grade 8 that we would think that you would have more questions about, or there's more of a learning curve. It's hopefully very intuitive up to and including grade 5. And once you have gone through the process, hopefully that will be more evident as well for you. So it does get more complicated from grade 6 up. So please, if you are taking or have a candidate taking an exam grade 6 and up, please spend some time on the advanced notation editor, because there is a learning curve for there. Linda's asked, is there just one test exam? Yes, there is, Linda, just one test exam, and you can take it as many times as you want. Neharika has asked, in the account setting on the platform, do you change it to the time zone that you are in? I'll let Renee answer that. Does that matter, Renee? Because I guess it will start when...
Not really. We will tell you the exact time when your exam starts in your time zone. Of course, for you, it's easier when you set the same time zone in your account, just that you get your time zone displayed on the exam. But if not, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, thank you, Renee. Matt has asked his daughter, has autism and concentration can be an issue? Can I be in the room to keep her focused on doing the exam? Thanks for the question, Matt. I think Merv, you might have to just answer that in terms of the regulation, because from our side, from a software side, it would be more to be that we're aware of that, so that we're not picking things up that might be just you, Matt, in the room doing that. But I think that would be on with LCME would be deciding just on their basis there on how they'd manage that from a regulatory perspective.
Yeah, I think it's a case by casing, and probably a conversation to have outside of this meeting as well. So if you drop an email to the hello at GoCreateAcademy, have I got that one right? Yeah. If you can just drop it in an email to them first, if that's okay, so that we can then kind of pick that up. Again, we always have to do a comparison across with what would happen for a written paper. This is just a different way of taking the exam. It's not a fundamentally different exam. So the same sort of principles apply. Therefore, the same principles around our approach to special consideration also apply. So if we can just take that conversation outside of this and pick that up, that'd be great.
Thank you, Merv, and thank you, Matt, for the question. Again, that's hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. Harry has asked what ID is acceptable other than passport. Renee, I know we have it in the guidelines. Was there what else we can accept?
Yes, it can be any official ID, so your government ID card, passport, or driver's license. Please don't use a student ID card or an unofficial ID card from whatever. So it definitely must be an officially issued ID.
Thank you. And if you've any doubt on that, just get in touch, Harry, and let us know. Michael has asked, can you ask the invigilator a question? I guess you're asking during the exam. I'm not really sure, Michael, what question that you might need to ask during the exam. That's partly, again, doing the process beforehand to make sure that your camera is connected in the right way. If the invigilator, if there was something happening, then you may be contacted by the invigilator, but I'm not sure what question. Perhaps Merv might have an idea of what question Michael is thinking of there that you might be asking an invigilator during the exam.
Well, no, there shouldn't be. I mean, obviously, if you need some help with answering the questions, then sorry, but you're not going. You're not gonna get any, I'm afraid. So, and obviously, the papers have been checked and proofed and all the rest of it for sort of errors and typos and all of that sort of stuff. So, as they would be for the written paper, really. So yeah, there's support from a technical point of view, as it were, but from everything else, as with the written exam. It should all be self-explanatory.
Thanks, Merv. Thanks for the question, Michael. Senam has asked, during the exam, once we're finished, can we go back in order to check our answers before submitting? Renee, maybe you can just answer that so it's clear for Senem what that process is.
Yes, you can always double check your answers. First, when you take the test exam, for example, on the right sidebar, you see every question, and it changes your color when the system recognizes that you have submitted an answer for it. When you are done with your exam and you want to finish your exam, then you will see an overview of all your questions with an indicator if it was answered or not answered yet. There, again, you can check if you have answered all questions or if you have missed a question. Then, of course, you can go back and edit your answer or answer a question if you simply have overseen it and finish your exam again. But when you finished and submitted the exam and confirmed it the second time, then there is no way back. So, yeah.
Thank you, Renee. So Athena's asked, so the link that you send, there's a practice test. You would have already been sent that link, Athena, but if you haven't got it, just go onto the link that I put in the chat box, and you can take the practice test exam there. Session has asked, do you have an email which I can send a message to if I have a problem? Yes, but are you specifically, Session, asking about during the exam? Because you can't go onto your email during the exam. I just want to stress that and send something. But if you have a question, you know, in the next few days, yes, please do send a question through to hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. But also, please, any questions that are technical about logging in, connecting, anything like that, we need to receive those questions in the next few days. There won't be a team on, you know, Friday evening, you're panicking, you haven't done it. There won't be somebody available to do that. It will be within business hours. So please, I would suggest to you now to do any prep that you need to do it in the next few days. Give yourself time so that you can be nice and relaxed on Saturday when you're doing your exam. And please, in order for our support to be able to support you, please submit those questions in the next few days, and just to make sure that we can get to you and back to you and fully support you in the process. So that email again was hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. So Sephir's asked, can we wear hats? Ready?
Generally, no. Both from a technical and also from a music theory side, there is no need to have a hat during the exam. Maybe Murph has more details if it's for a medical reason, but from my side, you can't wear a hat.
Yeah, no, I just you know just support that, as I say. Yeah, unless it's a religious reason or a medical reason, then of course. But otherwise, obviously, from the purposes of just making sure that we can kind of identify, and we can be sure that there's no suspicious behaviour going on and all the rest of it. No disrespect to anybody here, but you know, it's just for all of those sort of reasons. But clearly, if there is a reason, be it sort of cultural, medical, religious, whatever, then you know, obviously that's fine, of course.
Thank you. So I guess is the exam on Zoom? No, it's on the online exam platform, which we have linked to in the chat box. Banathi has asked, can you give us a run through of how to log in? So yes, so we have recorded that, Banathi, and the link is on the how to enter the exam. So there is a little video there showing you, in fact, it's Renee going through the process, so you can see the exact process and how it happens. Nia's asked, when will our results be given? I believe you will hear within about, is it 7 days? Merv will have to confirm that again. I think it's on the guidelines page. It takes several weeks before you actually get your written report, but you will get your results, I think, in about 7 days of finishing the exam. Is that correct, Merv?
I must admit, I can't actually remember what you published on the guidelines this time. I'm sorry, I should know that.
It's on the guidelines, and so roughly it will be at least 7 days, but not too much longer than that to actually get your results. But it's a different time frame for getting your physical report. So just double check on the guidelines. We have it all in there. Chari's asking, who does he reach out to for help? Is there an invigilator he should reach out to? Again, if you're asking about during the exam, there isn't really any help an invigilator can give during the exam. The only help that we can give is that if you're having a technical problem, in terms of you're not connected or, something there. Merv, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that you would be, but it's just like a normal exam.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Not really, I'm afraid, no.
Okay. Is an essay part of the test exam going to be part of every grade? No. So it's just there'll be nothing extra like that on an exam grade that doesn't happen in a paper exam on the same grade. So the answer would be no. It's just that test area is showing every type of question for all of the exam grades. And next year we will have it individualized for each grade level. So that will be better for you all, in that process. So we are aware of that, and we will definitely have that next year. Kritika has asked, okay, we've already gone through the ID, so I think Renee answered that a few minutes ago. Wesley's asked, he's attempted to log in whilst on the webinar and it's not working. I seem to be able to register but not enter the exam. Okay, maybe Renee, you can answer that. He says, is a link emailed or what is supposed to happen?
So there is no link emailed. You just enter the test exam, and while you are entering, you automatically create an account. Then you can log in with your account and just take the test exam. Yeah, at the moment, of course, I can't see what maybe went wrong. Maybe you just follow our link with the instructions how to enter and take the test exam and try it again. If it still does not work, just send us an email with some more details and screenshots, and we can help you.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Wesley, for the question. Emma has said, when I complete the exam, should I unmute myself so the invigilator can review my handwritten notes, or how do I submit these? When press submit on the exam, do I get kicked out of the software altogether? Well, yes, once you, maybe Renee, I'll let you answer that actually.
On this Saturday, we don't have a live monitoring session, so you cannot mute or unmute yourself. Everything is controlled by the AI. Your handwritten notes, as I said before, just show your blank paper before you start your exam, and every time you start writing notes, show the paper again, so that both the AI and the invigilator can see, okay, you are now starting to make some notes. And yeah, when you submit your exam, you will stay logged in to the platform, but your exam is simply over. Then you can just log out or close your browser window, whatever you want. So
thank you, Renee. Yeah, so Emma, so just make sure at the end that any notes that you've written and just hand them, like make sure your camera can just see them for a few seconds wherever you've written notes. So if your exam is being reviewed for any potential issues, that the invigilator can see those. That would be great. Thank you. And thanks for the question. Toby, if there's a technical issue during the exam, like it freezes up, can the candidate log out and log in again, or will he or she be disqualified? Renee, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, the only technical issues that could happen is that you lose your internet connection. Our system will recognize when you lose your internet connection, just do a bad Wi-Fi quality. When this happens a lot of times, then of course, yeah, it's not so good. If you lose your internet connection due to your internet service provider, then of course we can check it with your ISP. If it was for your whole city or region, then I think we have to find a solution with LCME that you can retake your exam, because it's not your fault, not our fault. It's just, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and the other thing is, please don't log out and log in. If you have a short connection lost, just stay on the page, try to reload it again, but never log out and log in. So your browser session will be closed, and when you open the new session, your exam is simply over.
Thank you, Renee. Kevin has asked, I've registered for the test exam but can't get into it. Just check again, Kevin, against the guidelines. And if you're still not getting in, just email us, hello@GoCreateAcademy.com, and send us some screenshots, maybe of where it's happening, something's happening, and we can guide you through it. Zoe's asked, is the exam going to be on the platform? I guess by that you mean the online music theory platform. Yes, so it's not on this, it's not on Zoom, it's on the online music theory platform. Helena has asked how long until the results are issued. Also, will the results go to the candidate, or are they released to the booker, Eric? So the results will be exactly as they normally are. Merv, you might want to say something there just on how they're getting their results.
Yeah, they'll go out to the booker. So you've booked, or whoever it is has booked on your behalf via Eric, via our main admin platform. So that will log the booker's address, and so the results, the sort of hard copies of results certificates, will go out to the booker.
Thank you, Merv. Nia's asked, do we download the manuscript paper prior to writing? Yes, you do. You can print it out. We have it on the guidelines page. You'll see on the left-hand column, it says Stave manuscript paper there. Just that's where you download it from, and please do it prior to the exam. Thank you, Nia. Daisy had said, in the editor, sometimes symbols are put in the wrong place. Will this still be accepted as okay in the answer, or will I be marked down for it? Renee, might have you answer that question.
I don't really understand what it means that symbols are put in the wrong place. But for an example, if you have a question with SATB, for example, and you missed to switch the voices and some note stamps show to the wrong direction, for example, down instead of up, but everything else is correct, the examiner will not mark you down for it. So it's just, clear that it is a wrong stamp direction, but all other stamp directions are correct. So it's just, like on a written paper, a typo or whatever.
Perfect. Thank you, Renee. Thank you for the question, Daisy. Daniel's asked, if my internet connection is disconnected for some reason, how long can I log in to resume the exam after reconnecting? So what is the lag time, Renee? Do you know?
When you lose your connection for a short time, that's no problem. Of course, your exam timer will continue to go down, but don't try to log out and log into the platform again, because this will just close your exam session and submit your exam without you are done. So just refresh your browser, make sure that your connection is stable again, and just continue with your exam at the point where you lost your connection.
I mean, I'm also just going to reinforce at this point that the system is logging you all the time. So if there is an ongoing issue with your Wi-Fi connection, it will be logged. So in case that you have to talk to LCME about your particular exam, they will have all of the information. They will know if there was ongoing issues with that, and they will be taking everything into consideration based on.
Can I just jump in there, because I was saying, no, there's just to pick up on any other queries like this. Inevitably, if not for this session, then at future sessions, inevitably this will happen. There will be a power outage, there will be a loss of connection. It's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. We will, of course, as a responsible exam board, we will respond to that after the event. accordingly in the way that you would expect us to. In the same way that we would, let's use another analogy very briefly, in the same way as if it was a practical exam, somebody was driving to the practical exam and got stuck in an horrendous traffic jam and they couldn't make the exam time. Obviously, we wouldn't just say, well, that's just too bad then, isn't it? Never mind. You know, we would obviously be sympathetic. So it's the same sort of thing. Can't give you a definitive answer as to exactly what will happen, because we will respond accordingly with trying to reschedule the exam or whatever appropriate measures we will take around it. So that's really just some sort of reassurance around what will unfortunately inevitably happen at some point somewhere. So hope that reassures anyway.
Thank you, Merv. Yeah, and just, you know, everything is logged, so you don't have to worry about if they will know if you've had those issues when you get in touch. So Emma has asked, hello, we're now in Japan. Hello, Emma. We are renewing our visa. Is it possible to choose the time of the exam, please? Emma, what I would have to find out what exam zone that you have registered for, because at the moment it would depend on which block you were in. So for example, I don't know if you would have registered in Singapore time. Maybe, Emma, you could just let me know down further what, oh, we registered in the USA. Okay, and you are in, okay, so you would be in the Eastern Standard Time group. Maybe, Emma, you could just get in touch with us directly on hello@GoCreateAcademy.com so we can see, and just whatever candidates that you're referring to, so we can look at how we can adapt those into one of the other time zone groups. But please do that if possible as soon as you can, so we can make sure that we have everybody accommodated as much as possible within the within their local time zones. Okay, I think the other questions there around connection. Marilena has asked, can you explain where I find the password to log into the test exam? I'm not sure, is there a password, Rene, for the test exam?
Yes and no. So first you have to register yourself for the test exam. In this way, you create an account. During this process, you create your password for your account, so just log in. And when you start the test exam, there is just the word test written, and this is the exam password for the test exam.
Perfect, thank you.
Just try it again. If you cannot find it or need help, just send us an email.
Yeah, and I'll link here as well to that video, which just actually does show you exactly how to enter that exam. We actually have like a quick start guide, so I'll link to that here in a second as well, so you can actually I'll put it here for you, Marilena, in the chat box, so you can just see like the direct link there that you can go and have a look, and you'll see Rene going through that process, so you can see exactly how it is. Linda has asked, how can I show you my paper if the webcam is not active? The webcam will be active, Linda. For the actual exam, the webcam is active for the entire exam because it is invigilated. So it will be, so you will just hold up your blank piece of paper. So if I had a blank piece of paper here, you will hold it up to your camera so that the camera sees the whole piece of paper at the beginning when you're writing on it, and at the end, please, during the exam. Ashok has asked, what time is the grade 1 exam for the East Coast? Is that the East Coast in America, Ashok? I think because that's a 9 a.m. US East Coast time is the start time for grade 1 there. Timur says, I don't understand English very well. Can my sister stay near me during the exam? Timur, I think for questions like that, you'll have to get in touch directly with LCME because that really comes under their regulatory framework. And then we would have to be aware before the exam so that we were not logging that as cheating attempts. So that's quite important that we're made aware of anything like that before the exam. So perhaps you can just get directly in touch with LCME. Merv might, I know what the best email address is for that, but just on that because that's an invigilation question really around help during an exam. Thank you, Timur. Matthew, how many times can you take the test exam? As many times as you'd like, Matthew, and you don't need to keep re-registering for it. So just go ahead and, you can just keep going through the questions as many times as you want. When can you see the actual exam link? We'll send you an email by Thursday morning that will have your direct link to where you're going to log into your exam on Saturday. Mike, just checking that I've answered everybody's questions here. Michael has asked, at what time GMT can we log in? Is 9:50 a.m. or exactly 10 a.m.? Renee, you might let me know what time, Michael, that's for UK time starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday, what time they can log in at.
Yes, 10 minutes before is absolutely okay. Also for all other time zones, when the candidates log in 5 or 10 minutes earlier, it's absolutely no problem. They should just not log in later than the given time, because that would just interrupt the sessions, and in the worst case, you won't have enough remaining time to take your exam.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Renee. And a question just that we've had come in here as well around the exact time zone in Costa Rica. So it's an 8 a.m. time zone, so much like our 8 a.m. start. So what Renee was saying there for the UK time, you can log in exactly as Renee said there, just before your exam starts, 10 minutes before. I'm not sure. So the system, as I've said a couple of times before, will register internet issues. So if you are taking your exam and during the exam you have a lot of internet issues, we can deal with that, will be taken into consideration because the system will have logged that. So let me just go through the next questions here. So Wesley has had, so candidates need their own email addresses. Okay, so Wesley, yeah, so you may have registered your email address for your daughter. Presumably, I think you can still use that. She can use that email address. Isn't that correct, Renee? It's just as long as nobody else is using that email address. So if that's the email address associated with her, with her name, that's fine. So it doesn't have, it can be your email address and just that it's associated with her name for the exam. And as long as nobody else, you don't have any other son or daughter that are using the same email address, that's absolutely fine. Linda's asked, the report will be given by mail. Merv, maybe you can answer that. I'm presuming the reports will be exactly how you normally do them.
Yep, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so that, I guess, will be by mail. When will our results be given? Again, we have it on the guidelines page. I think it's in about 7 days on completion, you'll get the results. The report will be quite a bit later, but you should have your results more or less around that time frame. David has asked, for the notes and workout sheets for the exam, are only blank music staves allowed, or can you use plain sheets as well? Yes, you can use plain sheets of paper as well as but if it's not a plain sheet, it needs to be the staves sheet. And you again show that at the beginning of the exam, just to your camera. And remember, it's all being logged, so you're not going to get a response from somebody saying yes, but just show it to your camera and when you're writing on it and at the end. And is there a limit to the amount of notes you're allowed to use? When you say notes, I presume you mean notes that you're doing during the exam. I presume you can write as many notes as you want. You just need to, again, log them by showing them to your camera in the same way that I held up this piece of paper. So top to bottom, I'm showing it, and if I turned it around, I'd be showing the other side too. So making sure that everything I've written on is being shown to the camera. And this is for your, for you, so that if there is any issues with your exam and any thing that you want to sort out, that LCME have all of the information that they need for you. Daisy has asked, how are the rhythm questions going to work for inputting bar lines? I guess, is that, question, Rene, would be is that in the test area for, I guess that's a higher grade question?
There's a similar question in the test exam, but I'm pretty sure I know what types of questions you mean. It's where you have to fill in missing note durations or rests or bar lines, and maybe sometimes also give the time signature. For these questions, you don't have to put in bar lines. These questions are a bit different to the paper exams, where you, for example, only have to select the correct time signature and select missing note durations or breaks.
Thank you, Rene. Emma, I'm just looking, I see that you have put that you registered in the US, so we could probably switch you into the Singapore group. So that would mean that you would have a start time of about 1:30 p.m. local time in Tokyo. So just that hopefully will be better for you, because I think otherwise it would be in the middle of the night. So just get in touch with us and let us know who that's for, so we can make sure that we put you into the other group. So that, as I said, that should be about 1:30 p.m. Tokyo time. So Ashok has asked, can you please share grade 1 online sample exam test? Again, Ashok, there's just one sample test area on the platform right now, and that just shows all the different types of questions for all the different grades. If you want to do music theory practice, best way to do that is to look at, well, however you're learning your music theory, your own books and notes and past papers. That's all offline right now. That's not online. Felicia has asked, hi Felicia, she's the booker. We were told the exam would start at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. East Coast. Has that been changed to 9 a.m. as you just stated? I'm just checking here. Yes, the East Coast time is 9 a.m. Felicia. I hope that's okay for you. I think otherwise it was just too late, too early for Costa Rica. So that is, yes, it's at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Felicia. Ina has asked, can you put on the chat the email address? Yeah, I'll put that in there now, Ina. David Marin has said sheets of paper. That's what he was referring to. Yeah, so yeah, you can have blank sheets. You just have to show it to the camera before you start, when you start the exam, so that it knows that you have those there already. And Janet has asked, could you please put in a grade 8 popular music theory test paper, please? We don't, the only way you can do the test papers right now, Janet, apart from learning how to use the software of grade 8 online, is by doing the offline papers. But all of the details are there. If you are a grade 8 student, or you have a student doing grade 8, please do study the advanced notation guidelines, and any questions you have on that, get in touch with us. We would find that people doing particularly grade 6, 7 and 8 need to spend time on that test area, on especially the questions around the advanced notation editor, so that you will get familiar with it. But for actual practice, learning practice, that will just have to be for now with offline papers. Okay, so I think is that answered pretty much all of the questions there. I can't see any other questions. I'm just writing in the email address for you all here in the chat window, so you know where you can get in contact if you've got any other questions. And thank you all for attending this. Okay, I just see Rob has just asked a question for you, Merv. Is the intention for online exams to replace all face-to-face exams entirely, both practical and theory? Okay, I'll just get to that in a minute, Rob, because that's more of a question on general exams. I'd just like to, before we go to that, just to reiterate, could everybody please make sure that for each candidate, they have submitted the candidate's name and an email address associated with that candidate. You will do that process automatically if you take the test exam, and we would kindly request that everybody would take the test exam before Thursday, so that if they've had any questions, any problems, logging in, anything like that, that you can get in touch with us, and that we have time to come back to you to make sure that you are nice and relaxed on Saturday, and that you can just focus on taking your exam on Saturday. Again, any other questions, we do have everything listed quite extensively in the guidelines area. And if you can't find it there, or you're having problems logging in or anything like that, just get in touch with us at hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. And I think from Renee and my part, we'll probably leave it there. And Merv, I'll just leave that final question with you there. And thank you. Renee has just put the link there for the important information with the guidelines. Please do go there. We have everything that we have thought that you might need to ask us. We have gone through that and written it out there. So hopefully we'll pretty much answer everything. And I shall leave it at that. Thank you all for your questions. And Merv, I shall leave that last question from Rob with you there.
Thank you very much indeed, Susan. Rob, thanks for the question. I think this becomes quite a useful sign-off statement from me, actually, to kind of close this hopefully useful, certainly very interesting and informative session. So the phrase I'm using here is that LCME are creating a suite of assessments, a suite of assessment options. Within that suite of assessment options, we have face-to-face exams, we have written theory exams, we have recorded practical exams, online practical exams, online theory exams. Nothing is going away. We are adding, we are augmenting, we are creating more options and more flexibility for you. So I hope that sums it up, reassures. This is about choice and options and flexibility from my perspective. And just while I'm here, thank you, all of you, for joining. It's lovely to see some names I know as well. Felicia, hi to you. Andres in Costa Rica, if you're still around, my friend, hello to you as well. And thank you all very much for taking your time out for this session as well.
Thank you, Merv. Yeah, and a big thank you. And obviously, last but not least, a big good luck to everybody on Saturday. It's really exciting. We are very excited to be doing these exams with you, and we're really hoping that you all love the experience. And yeah, I think that's about it. Renee, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to it, but no. Okay.
Not from my side.
Well, thank you for answering all of those technical questions for everybody. And again, please, we're here to help you, to make sure that you don't have any stress on the day of, from a technical side, and that you can just really take your exam and hopefully enjoy the process. So any other questions, get in touch, hello@GoCreateAcademy.com. Please send in your questions in the next few days before Thursday, so that we can really, answer your questions and get back to you, so you don't have any stress on the day. And last but not least, you will get an email from us with your exam login details on Thursday, and by Thursday, I should say, and anything else. So if you hadn't, please do get in touch. You're just unsure about anything before then, just get in touch with us. Okay, thank you, Merv, for being with us this evening, giving your time.
Absolute pleasure, absolute pleasure.
And thank you, Renee, too. And yeah, best of luck to everybody, and take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.